Welcome, Tim King. Thanks so much for joining us for ICTC's National Cyber Day 2022. Thanks for joining us. Okay, we're going to jump right in because it's a cyber sprint. You got to go fast. You have 30 seconds. Introduce yourself and tell us what you're doing to protect Canadians online.
So my name is Tim King. I'm a 5-time Cyber Titan National Finalist coach. And this year I've been seconded to ICTC, who are the Information Communication Technology Council of Canada. And my job now is Eastern Education Coordinator. And in that role, I'm trying to raise digital literacy and especially cyber skills in students K-12 in Canadian education.
Amazing. We need more Tim Kings. So what's the hardest part of being a Cyber Titan or a Cyber Patriot coach?
The hardest part, honestly, is convincing students that they can do it. Most people have this really intense version of cybersecurity where it's all hackers who speak another language and the whole thing is completely beyond them. And in every case, when we get to the end of a Cyber Patriot, Cyber Titan season, the students all say the same thing. That was way easier than I thought it was going to be.
Excellent. So we hear a lot about the Cyber Titan and the Cyber Patriot programs, but what skills do the students actually learn? What can they take from what they learn through those programs and apply in daily life?
So the main point of the program, especially Cyber Patriot, is they give you images of operating systems in virtual machines. So it's a virtual computer inside the computer, like in a window, and you cannot do anything wrong there. If it goes wrong and you blue screen it or you crash it or anything else, you just restart it. So there is no stress. It's like a digital sandbox. So when you get into the digital sandbox, they give you, say, a Windows 10 image that has maybe had a virus run on it or something. So nothing's set up right. All the settings have been changed by the virus to give it better access. And your job in Cyber Patriot is to go through your Windows settings, delete the users that shouldn't be in there because viruses like to add in users, and change the account settings back to where they should be. And you get points for that. And it's live scoring. It's very exciting. When students get scores, they're all like, yeah. And basically, that's what you're doing for the 6-hour sprint.
6 hours. Okay, that sounds like a fun day.
It is, and you'd think, like everybody says, kids nowadays, they can't stick with anything. I've never seen anyone work harder than the last 15 minutes on a Cyber Titan. They are just driving for those final points. They've been facing off against other teams all day. I think Cyber Patriot is in 8 countries now.
Wow.
So students from all over the world are in this. You could be up against a team from the UK, a team from Germany, a team from Japan, team from Australia, and you could be fighting them all day point for point, and you can see your points live. So it's a live scoreboard, and the whole idea is defensive security. So what you're doing is learning the insides of Windows or Linux. We do Linux too, and by the end of it, students understand operating systems way better than they ever did. Most people think Windows is a static system. It's not at all. Once you get under the hood, you can do all sorts of crazy things. And this will teach you that.
That really does sound like a lot of fun. Okay, so our next question, are there courses that K-8 teachers, so teachers with fairly young kids, what can they take to learn more about cyber safety, and how can they bring some of that information into the classroom for really young kids?
That's one of my passion projects in this new position. What I intend to do is create a big Swiss Army knife of digital tools that you can use in your classroom, that you can just bring cybersecurity in and cyber safety. When you get down to the younger kids, what you're actually looking for is digital hygiene and just understanding what it means to be connected to a network. We use EdTech in all of our classes all the time now, and we don't spend a lot of time explaining to staff and students just how vulnerable that can make you. The stat that I keep hearing is over 95% of cyber attacks are successful because of user error. And it's not error, it's illiteracy. Yeah. So what we need to do is raise the bar there. If you want an easy to find tool, CyberDay is obviously the choice. And I was looking at the CyberDay resources the other day, and I'm going to take a whole bunch of those into my digital toolbox and run them out to people. There are tons of material online. Every cybersecurity company, Trend Micro, I was talking yesterday, and I shared CyberDay with them. And they were just thrilled that you were using their material in the site. There's industry, there's government, law enforcement, the military. Everybody wants to try and improve this skill set. because we all spend a lot of our time online.
Yeah, it truly is a team sport.
Really is.
It really is. Okay, so here's a question from a student. He says, my school doesn't really study cybersecurity. So how can a student get into it by themselves?
I think the first thing you need to do is find someone brave on staff who's willing to just support you in it. This is one of those roles where the teacher does not need to be the sage on the stage, the person at the front giving out information. In a lot of cases, my senior team especially, when they get into scripting solutions, so they're actually writing code that runs automatically to cure all these problems in the OS. When they get to that point, they've lost me. My background was in physical IT, so I'm really good at building networks and making cables and all that stuff. I'm kind of a computer mechanic. But when I see our computer science students jump into it and suddenly get into scripting and automatically fixing things, it's beyond me. I kind of help them with that. So this really is a student-centered learning opportunity. So I would encourage staff to just approach it from that point of view. My wife and I are presenting at the Canadian Library Association next week, and I think librarians are a perfect cyber titan coach, because you're at the center of the school. You've got access to all of the classrooms around you. They come to you for learning information. And if you think about what libraries were, the first time I ever touched a computer was in 1982, and it was a Commodore PET in my middle school library. And I made a career out of that opportunity. So if I can get librarians on board, I think that is one of the key pieces to this, because other stuff will follow.
Yeah, and if you have links to stuff like that, let me know and we can link it in the video so that if we do have librarians watching, then they can join that session. That sounds really interesting. Okay, so the next question is, do you have to be a people person to engage with students on cybersecurity?
There are two sides of this. I think the answer is no, and my argument would be you can be any kind of person to be in cybersecurity. One of the things we've leveraged really effectively at my local school is we have a lot of students on the ASD spectrum who come onto our teams, and they're not comfortable working in groups, and that social anxiety can be a piece of that. But there are jobs you can do in the team that are entirely you and the computer. And a lot of our autistic students are fantastic at that. Like, we're tops in Canada in Cisco networking. And it's been an autistic student who's done that for the last 3 years. So for me, it's an opportunity for neurodiverse students to really show their skills. And these are kids who would not be on sports teams. They don't get to, participate in that whole sports culture thing where the school really focuses on that and praises their athletes. This is a different kind of athletics. And for that, I'm really thrilled. I think this is a chance for kids who are never heard from to really stand on a podium. And it's happened.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
So this is a good question. How do you deal with students who are always asking about becoming hackers? I guess they all want to just hack. What do you tell those kids?
One of my favorite stories is we had a student recently who got into a lot of trouble with the police over this, and they were banned from computers. So what happened recently is we put them on a cyber titan team, and it's taken all of that negative energy and that self-taught chaos and focused it into something useful. And they realized that there are cyber criminals, which is a certain kind of hacker, but there are a lot of different kind of hackers. And if you want to be a white hat hacker or even a gray hat hacker, there are different variations to that culture where you can be as technically skilled as you wish and really show off your skills, because that's a big part of the hacking community. Like, look what I pulled off.
Yeah,
right?
Showing off, yeah.
But from the cybersecurity side, hackers are a valuable resource. If you don't know what pen testing is, that's penetration testing, and the job there is to break into a network, but the network hired you to do it. So imagine you get hired by a big corporation and they say, come at us. What a cool job that is, right? We've met pen testers at Cyber Titan Nationals, and all of my kids go away thinking, that's like a James Bond dream job. Like the one guy was saying he was actually in the Ukraine for 2 years, on and off, leading up to the events there to help secure them. And it's one of the reasons why the Ukraine was so able to defend against Russia's cyber offensive abilities, because pen testers and people working in those jobs go in there and test the defenses.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, our next question. This is actually our wrap-up question, and everybody has been getting this question because we want everybody's perspective on this. What do you think is the #1 thing that young people need to know about cyber safety?
I think the #1 thing is that it is now a literacy that everyone needs to have. If you want to connect to any network, whether that's on your phone or whatever else, it's your responsibility to take that on and defend yourself, but also defend where you live, your municipality, your province, and your country. Canada is in real peril. I was at the Waterloo Cybersecurity, University of Waterloo Cybersecurity Conference last week, and one of the industry guys interrupted the "we've made a network and we're really making steps forward" thing to say, this isn't going to work. In the next 5 years, the power is going to go out and gas is going to stop in Canada because of a cyber attack. And when we're all sitting there in the dark, and the success of that attack was probably due to user error, not user error, user illiteracy,
Right.
then did we do enough? And I don't think we have. So the short answer is it's everyone's responsibility if you want to participate, and everyone's participating.
Fantastic. Thanks so
Hard
much,
sell?
Tim.
Was that a hard sell? I think
no, that was
awesome.
We'll get everybody involved. That's like we keep saying, it's a team sport. Everybody's got to be involved. Thanks
really
so much,
is.
Tim. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll get a whole bunch of new teams next year for you.
Thanks, Deborah. Go CyberDay.
CyberDay.